is over. Another year has come. We thank God for the blessings. We thank God for His love. For all that's still to happen, we pray that God may bless. May we find peace and happiness. We trust that God knows best.
The views expressed on the following broadcasts do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. Take 12 Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
When the static of life fills your brain,
Yes.
and the world seems a little too insane, just twist that dial, don't hesitate. There's a haven where good vibes await. Tune in and Take 12 for some joy and cheer. It's the sound of hope coming in crystal clear. Recovery talk, the music so grand, a
Beacon of light, a helping hand. Well, welcome aboard, everyone, to another episode of the world's original Recovery Talk and Recovery Music radio station and podcast network, the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. From Colorado, co-host and just a heck of a great guy, part of Raw Recovery and TrudgingTogether.org, Mr. Dion Miller is here. From Huntington Beach, California, and came to believe recovery, Mr. Roger McDermott. From Albany, Oregon, our Cat Scott, the Make Believe Take 12 Recovery Radio Orchestra, and of course I am recovered alcoholic and just kind of twisted up inside, the Monty Man. And we're here for you on this episode of the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. Kaboom, zitty boom, zitty boom, zitty boom. That's right. Okay, I stumbled across this, and people that aren't on our YouTube won't be able to see this, but they just miss out. I stumbled across this little identification card right there. Look at it. That is me.
That's scary.
Isn't that?
Yes.
Yeah, that is my City of San Jose municipal driver's license for vehicles for hire. Cost for the license, $2. $2. Issued on 6/15/1979. I was 23 years old. I was 5'9.5". At the time, I weighed 255. I'm still, under sex, I'm still a male. Ow.
As he drops it.
It was for when I drove for King Cab. Yeah, and
wow.
that I was not. Well, I drove for King Cab.
Not sure I'd gotten a cab with you.
I am not going to talk about what condition my brain was in while driving for King Cab. But I mean, you know, the cops aren't going to pull over a taxi, right? Woo-hoo, baby, it's party time. Yeah. So I would. So this is the trip about this, guys, and I don't know if anybody out there ever drove cab, but $12 it was called our gate fee. We had to pay the company $12, And that covered our gate fees to go out the gate, basically, with our car. I drove a Dodge Monaco. It was the same car this California Highway Patrol were using, which was fun. And $12. And so then you had to pay for your own gas, and you could do that with your tips that you got very easily, right? And after that, everything was just money in your pocket. Crazy, right? And an opportunity to make lots of dough. But what did I do? I made my gate fee, got my gas, and then it was like the rest of the day I'm picking up hitchhikers and we're getting high.
Yeah. The original party cab.
That's what we did back in the day.
Scoundrel.
Yeah. Anyway, so there, I found this. I'm like, oh my goodness sakes, $2 for a license to drive.
Oh no, that picture reminds me of like a picture that you'd see where the neighbors would be like, "But he was such a nice guy. I don't understand why he's a serial killer."
Yeah, but I don't look very happy there. You know
No,
what I'm saying?
you don't. I'm not sure
need
to
a
get in the cab with
What
you.
is a license for?
I need a drink. Yeah, trip. Yeah. So one day, this is many years ago, the police showed up at our door looking for me, and Marcia, we were together. We weren't married yet, but she had several pictures of me in the house, and the police were looking around there going, "He has many different looks, doesn't he?" Because depending if I shaved my beard off or gained weight or lost weight or whatever, right? I didn't look like the same person. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The life of a criminal.
Man of many faces.
Oh my gosh. Okay, the topic of this week, listeners, is a snapshot, click, of step one. Admitted we were powerless over, you can fill in the blank. In this case, the original manuscript said alcohol, and that our lives had become unmanageable. We're going to talk about that today, but we're going to have a little fun first. Of course, we got to have some fun, you guys.
Hey now, gather round, it's time to play.
Uh-huh.
We're diving into trivia in a jazzy way. With a swing in our step and a smile so bright. Let's celebrate the facts that don't feel quite right.
That's right. Let's celebrate the facts that don't feel quite right. I like that. All right. If you get it right,
nothing.
of course, you get the cowbell. Yeah, you get nothing. Get the cowbell. That's it.
That's not nothing.
No, it's actually something, isn't it?
It is.
More cowbell.
Isn't it a wonderful?
More cowbell.
And if you get it wrong, you get the fluff machine. All right, here we go. What is the national animal in Scotland? And this is multiple choice. Make it easy for you.
Thank God.
The national animal in Scotland, is it a unicorn, a frog, or a yellow spotted salamander? What do you think, Kat?
Unicorn.
Okay. What do you think, Dion?
I'm gonna go with the salamander.
Salamander? Roger?
I have no idea. I'm going salamander.
Salamander? Well, you guys are wrong.
Yeah.
Cat is correct.
Yay, cat.
It is the unicorn. Yeah.
So
That's super cool.
a figment
Good job,
of their
Kat.
imagination is their national animal.
That's right.
Well, unicorns symbolize strength and the ability to remain unconquered. So unicorns are very real in Scotland.
They
I
are
didn't
not
write that.
really real in Scotland.
Roger?
I think
Or-
it's
Roger, have you ever seen a unicorn?
Have you? Neither
I'm
has
asking you.
anybody in Scotland,
I'm
Monty.
asking you.
No,
Have
I've
you ever
never
seen-
seen a unicorn.
Right. Have you ever not seen one? Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
want to ask that
seeing
question.
one right
Have
now.
I ever not seen one? Yes, Monty, I have never not seen one.
Not seen one. Well, if you've never seen one, how do you know they don't exist?
Oh,
There's no
well, the
pictures
unicorn is
of.
my new higher power.
There's
Yeah.
there's no recorded issues or pictures of a unicorn in Scotland or anywhere else.
How dare you? You
How
have,
do you know that?
You have never watched My Little Pony?
Monty, do you know why they call that a cartoon?
Fiction. He's just going to show his picture.
Wow, we went up to a smashing start in 2026.
Okay, here's your second one. On Sunday in Florida, it is illegal for a single woman to do this. Is it skydive, walk their dog, or wash their feet in public? This is on Sunday in Florida. It's illegal to do this. What do you think, Kat? Skydive, walk their dog, or wash their feet in public for a
Wash
woman?
their feet in public.
Okay. Dion?
I'm gonna agree with that because it sounds something old and testament-y and yeah.
Yeah. Roger? What do you
I'm
think?
going unanimous. Wash their feet in public.
Yeah, well, sorry, guys. It is illegal on Sunday in Florida for a woman to skydive.
Oh,
Yeah.
These are
Cannot
the
be
most
dropped from the sky,
ridiculous
ladies.
laws I've ever heard in my life.
I bet
Yeah.
they do it all the time.
my grandma got a ticket for that once. I should have known.
They keep they keep law enforcement busy, I'll tell you, by golly. Look, there's is that a woman flying? Quick, call the constable.
Oh, chips.
Wow.
Oh man! All right, here's the next one. Washington. And I don't know if this is Washington State or Washington D.C., but it says Washington police officers get a half-hour class on how to do this. Is it slap a person unconscious back to consciousness? Is it sitting down? Or is it reporting their overtime? Washington police officers get a half-hour class on how to do this. Kat, what do you think?
This is a hard one.
Slap a person back to consciousness, report their overtime, or sit down?
I'm going to go with sit down.
Sit down? Okay. Dion?
I'm gonna go with the slapping somebody back to consciousness, just
Slapping
because it's something a skill that I would like to learn myself.
Do it on yourself, right? Roger, what do you think?
I'm going with Dion.
Yeah, the slapping thing?
Yep.
Well, I thought that too, but we'd be wrong. It's pretty hilarious, but the reason behind this goes back to a few incidents in 1999 where some employees fell from their chair, with one officer actually being injured. So they get a half-hour class on how to sit down. So, Kat, you are right.
It sounds...
How do you
Help
fall out of your
winner.
chair when you're sitting down?
I thought you were an alcoholic. Have you been lying to us this whole time? You don't know how to fall out of your chair? Okay, you need to go
How
back
do
and
you
drink some more.
fall down when you're sitting in a chair?
Oh my gosh! Every good alcoholic knows how to do that.
They fall down when they're getting into the chair.
No, I'm sitting in my chair and I just fall down.
Oh my God. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to 2026 at Take12Radio.com. Here we are with the Monty Man.
Yes. In St. Louis, Missouri, it's illegal for a fireman to rescue who? An undressed woman, pets over humans, or people refusing to be rescued? Kat, what do you think?
People refusing to be rescued.
Okay. Dion?
I'm gonna go with Kat because she's on a roll, and I want to be right about
Okay.
one of them.
Okay. Roger? Roger, what do you think, buddy? Undressed women, pets over humans, or people refusing to be rescued?
Would you read the question again, please?
In St. Louis, Missouri, it's illegal for a fireman to rescue who? Undressed women, pets over humans, or people refusing to be rescued?
Pets over humans.
Okay, what'd you say, Kat?
I
People
said,
refusing to be rescued, right?
yeah, but since you said Missouri, I'm going to change my answer to
Okay.
pets over humans.
Well, you're all wrong.
Oh,
It's illegal for them to rescue undressed women. In fact, it is also illegal for fire women to rescue undressed women.
Okay, so here's the deal, right? There's an undressed woman getting ready to burn to death in a fire, and it's illegal for them to save them.
That's right.
Well, that makes
But they'll
perfect
grab your
sense.
cats.
What are you in for, sir? I rescued an undressed woman from a fire, from her death.
well,
That's
I'm not
the most
going to
ridiculous
Missouri.
thing I've ever heard of in my life. Well, Monty, you've outdone yourself with these questions.
I know. Okay, I got just one more. All right. Henry VIII introduced which tax in England in 1535? Was it a beard tax, a beer tax, or a property tax? 1535, Henry VIII introduced this tax in England. What
I'm
do
going
you
to say
think?
beer. I'll go with beer. I'll get us
You're going
started.
to go with beer, Cat? What do you say?
Yeah.
Beer, beard, or property?
Beard.
Beard? Okay, Roger.
What's the most ridiculous answer? I'm going with it. I'm going with beer.
With beer? Okay. Well, you and Dion are wrong. Cat is right again. It is beard. Yes, if you had a beard, you had to pay a tax.
That's what I said, Monty.
You said beer.
No, I said beard. You weren't listening.
They just sound so much alike.
Liar.
Yes, I said beard. You just didn't hear the D. Because I didn't say the D. Yeah,
Tax.
that's scary,
Tax
Monty.
that.
Very scary.
Tax that.
Twilight Zone scary.
All right. Well, that does it. Let's close out trivia for this episode. Yeah, baby. All righty. Hey, do you ever feel stuck in your recovery? Ever feel stuck? Have you ever gotten stuck? Have you ever gotten your tongue stuck to a frozen pipe?
I have not. I have never done that.
I've never done that.
Never- You haven't
Why,
lived.
I bet you have a picture of it, though.
I have a
you
great
ever got
question, though. Why would anybody put their tongue on a pipe?
Well, some people.
Frozen or not
when they're
frozen?
Kids.
A dare.
I guess. What about those Chinese finger lock things? You ever do those? Put your finger in
those
there.
are
I've
fun.
gotten my fingers stuck
Yeah,
in
those are
those.
cool.
You try to pull it out this way, and
Got my fingers stuck, but not in those.
I had to break it to get out of it.
you had to break it. There's a secret.
Wow.
You just relax.
We need step
Yeah, I
one.
tried that.
You
We
drive
need
it
step
down.
one desperately.
Well, if you've ever felt like your recovery was just kind of stagnant, you know, we don't care.
Good luck on that.
Wow.
Who cares? Who gives a rip? I'll tell you who gives a rip. Our good friend Dr. Alan Berger, PhD, the emotional sobriety guru, and his book, 12 Essential Insights for Emotional Sobriety, Getting Your Recovery Unstuck. Man, you get two of these books, one for you and one for a friend. Go to abphd.com and order it from there, and you'll get an autographed copy from Dr. Berger. Or you can pick it up on Amazon, 12 Essential Insights for Emotional Sobriety, what Bill Wilson deemed as the next frontier. Yeah, I got to tell you, one of my favorite all-time books of all time. Is that redundant? A little bit.
That's a
Okay. Yeah. So it is a new year. We have moved into a new realm of our lives. And I thought long and hard, about 30 seconds, about how to start out the first Take 12 radio show, Monday show of the new year. And I figured, what a better way to start than a snapshot of step one? And all joking aside, it is often referred to as the only step you need to do perfectly. I don't know about that. I don't know about perfectly, but it's certainly. I think all the steps are just as important as any of the other ones, and they come together as a set of 12 for a reason, not to do just 1 and 12 or 1 and 2 or 2 and 4 or 3 and 9 or whatever. They're in order for a reason, and we start out with step 1. And if you're going to go with the mothership, Alcoholics Anonymous, where it all came from, it would read, admitted we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become manageable. So one of the things I wanted to start out with here was who was the we? Well, I hate to burst anybody's bubble, but the we was not you and I. Is it a we program? Yes, okay. But that is not who we were. The we was the founders of the program. So you need to keep in mind, and as we go through these steps every week, we got to keep in mind that this is what they did. What we're going to look at is what they did. And then we're going to talk about what we did and what we're doing. Hopefully, if you see the result of something that is as successful as the application of the 12 steps, you would want to do what they did, whoever had the most success, what the success rates were like, So if the success rate was in the high 90s, 1 year and less than 3% on another year, who are you going to follow? The year with the 3% or the ones with the high 90? Well, for my money, I'm going with the high 90. And that's what the founders of Alcoholics Anonymous did when they said we admitted that we were powerless. Now, in the studio, in the office portion of the studio here at Take 12 Recovery Radio, I have steps and the related scriptures that go with them. And it states I. And the reason it states I, because I've had people ask me that, they've been in the studio, instead of we. I admitted I was powerless. It was because it was very important for me when I was working through the step process that I identified my issues and not compare myself to everybody else. And so that's why that was written. But the original manuscript says we. And so I want to launch forth with something out of the 12 and 12, the 12 steps and 12 traditions. Now, keep in mind, listeners, that the 12 and 12 is not an instruction manual on how to work the steps. That is not how you work the steps. It's a commentary on the steps, and it's very well written, but it's not the directives. The directives are in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. So if you're using the 12 and 12 as a directive on how to work the steps, you're using the wrong book. The step directives are in the big book. However, having said that, there's some incredibly valuable information in the 12 steps and 12 traditions. And on page 21, under step 1, it reads, the first paragraph reads, who cares to admit complete defeat? Practically no one. Of course, every natural instinct cries out against the idea of personal powerlessness. And you go down to the third paragraph. It says, but upon entering AA, we soon take quite another view of this absolute humiliation, that whole idea of being powerless. We perceive that only through utter defeat are we able to take our first steps towards liberation and strength. Our admissions of personal powerlessness finally turn out to be firm bedrock upon which happy and purposeful life may be built. And then it goes on to say something I've never seen this before. I've read it a million times and I missed it until today. It says, we know that little good can come to any alcoholic who joins AA unless he first accepted his devastating weakness and all its consequences. What's he need to do before he even enters AA? Accept his devastating weakness and all its consequences. I never saw that before. That we know that little good can come of any alcoholic who joins AA unless he first does this. Then it says, until he so humbles himself, his sobriety, if any, will be precarious. Of real happiness he will find none at all. Proved beyond doubt by an immense experience, this is one of the facts of AA life. The principle that we shall find no enduring strength until we first admit complete defeat is the main taproot from which our society has sprung and flowered. I have to tell you, this admitting complete defeat, becoming strong in my weakness, AA did not come up with that. This is parroting some very powerful literature called the Bible. The Bible preaches it over and over again. Until you surrender your own will, until you admit defeat, until you come to a place of humility and you're able to say, not my will, but your will, God, be done, you will not succeed. Period. So that's enough out of me as far as because I didn't want to go too deep, but I did want to share that. So let's open it up for discussion. Let me start with this question, and whoever wants to go first can go first. Was it difficult for you to admit that you had been defeated before you came into the rooms of recovery, or did you even have a concept of that before you came in?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Defeated's an interesting word.
Yeah.
I guess you could use defeated, surrendered, abandoned the thought that I was powerful enough to overcome these things. But what happened to me is very simple. It wasn't easy, but it was simple. I was in a program, an alternative sentencing program. December 1 of 1996, I went into it. And a KDAC counselor came in and diagrammed on a board and handed out pages which showed the chemical reaction of an alcoholic brain when we consume alcohol. And the fact that there was a chemical created called acetaldehyde. And basically, the story was that normal people don't have this reaction. And I went, you're kidding me. I had no idea that there was a concept of a diseased brain, which was not normal when I drank alcohol. And on that day, before I ever got a sponsor, ever read the big book, ever did step one, I said to myself, I'm not drinking or using again, period. That's that. The end of that, because I got a diseased brain and I can't process it. Then, either that day or the next day, I had the moment with the man in the mirror. It was me and God. And I was searching high and low to find somebody that I could blame for my consequences. And that search resulted in there is nobody to blame but Roger. So two things happened. I found out that I had a diseased brain that can't process alcohol. And I found out that there was nobody to blame for the consequences of all my actions but me. And upon those two things, I went to a meeting, I got a sponsor, and I started with step one. And then someone pointed me to page 30 in the big book, where it says, we learned. Well, I learned in that alternative sentencing program that I was in for 72 days. said we learned that we had to fully concede to our innermost self that we're an alcoholic. And the next sentence said, this is the first step in recovery.
Right.
So when I got a sponsor and did step one, it was very obvious to me that I had admitted that. And that's when I read the first step. It was past tense. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Well, clearly my life was unmanageable, and I had admitted that I was powerless when I drank. But now I'm not drinking, and I'm not using, so I'm not powerless over alcohol. So it was past tense. And then my life was completely unmanageable, and I had to start on the journey of the 12 steps to learn how to have a new manager. And when I look back, that's why I never relapsed. I never relapsed because I made that admission on page 30, and I made a decision which was not negotiable. And I never drank and used again, even though I hadn't even started step one. But I look back on that and go, why didn't I ever relapse? And that's the reason why. And it's right in the book. It's right in the book. So you can call it surrender, defeated, admitted, acknowledged. Frankly, I don't care what you call it, but that's a requirement to successfully complete step one.
Yeah. Well said, Roger. Thank you. Gian?
Yeah.
How about you, man? I mean, was this a difficult thing for you to
Well,
see that you were powerless?
was and it wasn't. I went to my first AA in 1984 when I was 14. And it was because my mom had just gotten out of treatment, and I started going to Alateen, and they made me aware of this addictive personality that I had. So I've known that I was an alcoholic from a very early age. But I took it as just more name calling, and it made me angry. So I'm like, well, I'll show you, alcoholic. And by 17, I was living on Skid Row, and found a program, the Phoenix Concept. It was a year-long program. But really, and then I would get 10 years, go out for 15. But that's the part that I'd like to talk about coming back, because the first time I got sober, I didn't even have a hangover. But it was the consequences for me. Being on Skid Row was a big enough consequence for me at the time. But then I got to the point where I couldn't live without alcohol or live with it. When I woke up in the morning, if I didn't put alcohol in me, the death could have been there because of delirium tremens, and without help. So I highly recommend anybody that is looking at quitting alcohol who's been a heavy drinker to please seek medical attention, because alcohol is detoxing from alcohol can kill you.
Yes, you can. Yes.
And I tried for 2 years, but it kind of comes down to what Roger was saying. It wasn't until I accepted the devastating consequences that came with my drinking. It wasn't until I accepted it that I was able to do something about it. And I had to be convinced. You hear alcoholics all the time, well, I went back out. Is because they are finding another place in which they had no mental defense against the first drink. And I really like that you pointed out in the beginning that the we of the program was the first 100 people. We, and it's a past tense thing.
Yeah.
Because we are not those people anymore. All right? And I call step one the longest step, because however long it took you to drink is however long it took you to do step one. All right? I'd like to talk just a little bit about the step 0, the psychic change, because that was more for me than necessarily the first step. It was, psychic mind change. I changed my mind. I didn't want to live this life anymore, and I needed something different. And there were some disruptions along the way, but eventually came that day of, I'm like, okay, God, clearly I cannot do this. and I found the courage to ask for help. And it was probably the most courageous thing that I did. Walking into the room saying, I don't know anymore. I just don't know anymore. And there was a lot of fear of losing my identity, who I was. Because at least I was an alcoholic. I didn't want to be a non-entity. And of course, it did not work out that way. So I found acceptance was a big, accepting all of its devastating weaknesses and its consequences.
So you had a realization that your thinking had to change.
Absolutely.
You had to change the way you were thinking. Yeah,
absolutely.
Which is interesting because a lot of people don't get that, even in the rooms after being in the rooms for quite a while. I've heard people tell their story.
Yeah.
I've been sitting in this room for 2 years, and I finally realized I needed to put pause on all my old ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my sponsor Doug telling me, you need to give me everything you think you know about everything, put it in a box and give it to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, everything? He goes, everything. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I have a firm conviction that I know who God is in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need to change that. And he goes, what if you're wrong?
Ooh.
Whoa, I have never forgotten that. And so I said, okay. He said, listen, if you're right, no harm done.
No.
But what if you're not? And so that opened up my thinking, in my heart to, I wonder what else I've been thinking that's twisted, right? Mm-hmm. So I did. I figured gave Doug everything that I thought I knew about everything. And I said, let's start from scratch. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that I was right about who God was. But I needed to be willing to even let that go and take a step back and look at that stuff, so I need to be willing to change the way that I was thinking. Kat, now you're not an alcoholic. You're not allergic to alcohol, but have you had things in your life that you had to come to an understanding that you may be powerless over without help, or without some kind of support, or have you not experienced any of that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Was it difficult, or was it pretty much, I understand this?
I think for me, some things I was told to go get help with some things, and I wasn't ready, and I was really resistant. But then I went and I got the help anyway, and I was like, oh, well, I guess that was good. I kind of had to be forced into it to come to that realization.
Yeah. So it isn't always a bad thing for someone to kind of step in and take the reins from us and direct us in a different way. I mean, there's a lot of talk about whether tough love is, effective or not, but or if we need a gentler, softer touch, and I think everybody's different, and I think that every situation can be different. Yeah. You know how people will say, well, you'll never change unless you want it. Well, you know what? I didn't want to go to a 12-step meeting. I didn't want to stand before a judge. I didn't want to make myself accountable to other people. I didn't want to do any of that. And guess what happened?
Yeah.
I recovered, even in the midst of not wanting to do any of that. The other thing that I think is a shame is when we teach people that they need to hit rock bottom or they're not going to get well. And I think this is a bugaboo as of late for Dion, because I follow Dion on his social media, and basically and correct me if I'm wrong, Dion, but you're saying that philosophy is killing people, right?
Absolutely. It denotes, when I say rock bottom, this is what it goes through an alcoholic's mind, or even non-alcoholics. paper bag underneath the bridge, homeless, with no support, no job, and it denotes a requirement. Rock bottom, to me, in my opinion, is death. That is death.
Yeah.
There is no, because what we want you to do is we want you to choose your bottom. But if I'm over here telling you and I'm popular and people are listening to me, I'm like, well, you got to reach rock bottom. To an alcoholic, that's a challenge. A challenge that they're going to accept, and it could kill them. Just like I don't tell people to go out and do some controlled drinking. I know it's in the big book, but I stay away from that. But people use rock bottom as a way to advertise and utilize, to get people to listen when they really don't understand what rock bottom actually is. Nowhere in the big book does it say rock bottom.
Yeah. So if I'm told, well, you got to hit rock bottom before you're going to get well, I'm going to go, okay, all right. Then I'm working on that one.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite topics to discuss, and Dion hit it on it earlier. In Silkworth's beautiful writing, right? He talks about a complete psychic change.
Right.
And psychic change means everything: mental, physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual. A complete, entire psychic change. When I quit drinking and made that admission and never picked up a drink or a drug again, I was left with all my problems. So my problem clearly was not drugs and alcohol. It was my thinking. And my thinking separated from God, the power of God, and the principles of God, and the 12 steps is terrible. And another thing, one of my all-time favorite mentors, Mickey Bush, explains rock bottom absolutely clearly. Rock bottom is never a circumstance. Ever, never. It's a decision. And everybody's rock bottom is identical. It's when they decide, like I did, that I'm never drinking and drugging again. And in December of 1996, that was my rock bottom. And nothing to do with circumstances. Now, the gift of desperation and circumstances drives us to make that decision. But the decision is the rock bottom. And when you make the decision, you now begin on this course of a spiritual awakening. And that's what it says in step 12. I found the same God that I believed in too, Monty, but I didn't have a relationship with him.
Yeah, exactly. That was
I had
my
no
thing.
relationship. So I had belief, but I had no faith. Because my ego was totally in the way all the time. Even if I thought it wasn't, it was. All those cliches I heard in the first few months I went to Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm not much, but I'm all I think about. I thought that was stupid. But it was 100% true. I woke up every morning and the first thing I thought about was me. I went to bed at night and the last thing I thought about was me. And during the course of the day, all I thought about was me.
Right.
That's really, really sick. And it had nothing to do with drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So I have to make decisions all the time. That's why it's explained in the context of recovery that we have to take contrary action. Contrary to what? What I think. Contrary to what I think. I need principles and I need a power because my dilemma was lack of power. I need a power greater than myself. And in step 2, we can find it in the rooms. We can find it with a sponsor. But that's not God. God you meet in step 3. And the rock bottom thing drives me crazy. Well, I didn't hit my rock bottom. That's because you made no decision.
That's right. There it is. Great explanation, Roger. Very well said, brother.
I love it.
I think everybody has a different rock bottom, and like you said, you decide what it is.
So Roger's disagreeing with you.
Wait, what do you mean?
No, I agree with what you said, but when you said that everybody doesn't have the same rock bottom, I was saying you're right. The rock bottom is the rock bottom is absolutely the same. It's when you decide you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You're sick and tired of running on self-will.
Yeah.
Yes, I was agreeing with you, Kat. I'm just I'm so adamant about this because I could never for years understand why I never relapsed until I went back and thought about it. My rock bottom was when I made that decision, and it was not negotiable. It was not up for discussion. I joined the no matter what club. I'm never drinking and using. I'll flip you off on the freeway. I'll kick the dog. I'll scream at my wife. I'll scream at your wife, but I'm not drinking and using. And that was that. And that was the beginning of becoming recovered.
Yeah, because you got to get the symptom out of the way, and the symptom that so many of us have causes us not to think clearly. You know, I get it when a person first walks in the door and they're going, "Yeah, this isn't going to work." Why do they believe that?
Contemporary to investigation.
Contemporary to investigation, and they're too cloudy to think anything else anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they can't. Yeah.
No, they
You
can't.
wouldn't want to have asked any of us. Well, maybe, but you wouldn't have asked the three of us, gentlemen, in our first 30 days for something profound, spiritual, and wise. You wouldn't. But I thought I could do all that for you. I had no idea.
It was a good place to be at. I don't know anymore. It was a nice place to be, to not be making the decisions to, and what we're saying here is find yours, make the belief, make the decision that the consequences are not okay anymore.
Exactly.
And that could be done at different levels. So claim it. Claim it.
I was in Houston, Texas, and I had a little Nissan pickup truck with a camper shell. That was my home.
Was this a blackout?
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't think.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. There's many periods of time that were blackouts in my Houston experience. But I'm in the back of my pickup truck, and it's raining like cats and dogs, and most pickup trucks, when it rains, leak, somewhere in the back, and this thing leaked bad. It was bad, and I'm in one of those. Remember the sleeping bags before down sleeping bags? They were really heavy.
Oh yeah.
Almost like military sleeping bags. I had one of those sleeping bags, and it was soaked. It was leaking so bad. But the little warmth that it did give was all that I had. And I'm laying in this truck, and I had been romancing being homeless for a long time, thinking it was this is cool.
Wow.
Right? It really weird, sick way. And I'm laying in my pickup truck, and I'm shivering cold, and it dawns on me of my plight. It had never dawned on me before. I'm like, I'm homeless.
Yeah.
I'm in my pickup truck, and it's leaking, and I don't have any gas, and I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. I can't get a drink. I can't get a drug. I can't drive down the street. I can't. I'm stuck. Whoa. I mean, and it was a realization for me, and this was before I ever heard of the term powerless, right? But I knew then that I had lost all ability to make any kind of right decision or right thinking. I didn't have it. I didn't have it. And people will ask me, well, what was the thing that happened? I mean, obviously you got out of your truck and did something. I don't remember. But I know this. I'm not there today.
Yeah.
God had my back then,
Yep.
just as he does today. He was
That was
with
your
me
bottom. That was your rock bottom.
then. That was the first time I did. Now, could I have had even more serious bottoms? Sure.
Sure.
I think it's important for us to understand that we can help raise people's bottoms. We can be part
That's what
of
we're saying. Yep.
Yeah, we can help raise that. You don't have to go down as far as many of us did. You don't. It doesn't have to be that way. Well, they've got to go down this far. No, they don't.
Yeah, you don't.
No, they don't.
And that, I think that's the landing place that we're kind of all talking about, is we utilize what we've gone through so that we can make the bottom reach other people. And that's part of the 12
Yeah.
step work that we do. There's something unique about another alcoholic being able to let another alcoholic know the malady of their situation, of what's really going on. Because, like you just said, it didn't even hit you that you were homeless until you were till you were so bad that it wasn't cool anymore.
Right.
All right.
Right. It became extremely uncomfortable.
But it did, man.
You know, but there's something to be said about being emotionally, spiritually, maybe even physically paralyzed. When you can't move right or left, Kat,
Yeah.
you know, you can't go up, down, right or left. You are left in a place where the only thing you have is to reach out, you know, to God. And
It's the only thing left.
what do I do? Okay, I'm here. You got my attention.
I remember when I lived in Colorado for 8 months, and because of circumstances, it was a really bad time. But all I had was the church across the street. So I would go there just to have some kind of like friendly faces, you know.
Yeah.
Some kind of sanctuary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A sanctuary.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? It amazes me in a world that wants to, you know, deny God and his grace and his love. Just about every movie, every TV show, regardless of how dysfunctional they are today, when somebody's in real dire straits, where does the movie or the TV show that person sitting? In a church.
Yeah.
And it's usually a cathedral that's empty, and you know the vicar or the preacher or whatever is cleaning up in the front or something, and they see the person sitting there and they go, "Can I help you?" And they're lost, but they're sitting in a church.
Yeah.
So there is a deep realization, I think, in every man and every woman, you know, that we need a connection with our Creator.
Oh yeah.
And without it, and it's sad that we wait until we're desperate,
Yeah.
but that's okay. You know, if you come to a place of desperation, and God gets it. So admitted we were powerless over alcohol, or fill in the blank, and that our lives had become unmanageable. Was my life unmanageable? Did I need a new manager before I ever took a drink? Sure. Sure. You bet. But in this context, it's talking about the unmanageability that is a result of alcohol taking over. Yeah. And so if I can admit that I need a new manager, that means that I'm admitting that I need to change the way I think, because I don't think well. And for a while, my new manager was my sponsor, because he had skin on. You know what I mean? He was God with skin on, you know, until he came to a point where he actually wouldn't answer my phone calls because I'd become sponsor dependent. And he told me one day, he says, "You need to become God dependent."
Yep.
Right, not sponsor dependent.
What did you think immediately after he said that?
It was an aha moment. It was, you know, because I was initially hurt because he wouldn't return my calls. I'm like, what's going on with this guy? And then I ran into him and I said, "Hey, I've been calling you and I've done it." And he goes, "I know." He goes, you're becoming too dependent on me. You need to become God dependent.
Yeah.
And it was like, duh. It was, you know, because here's the thing. I knew enough about the good book and about God. I knew just enough to know that he was absolutely correct. You know, and I was like, yeah, okay.
So did I, but I wasn't willing to change. until I was.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. All right. Any closing thoughts about step one, this snapshot that we've taken today? And please, listeners, when you're listening to this, don't think, well, I've listened to this show. Now I've done my first step. No. That's a nice thought. That's not.
It'd be nice.
I would have to say, this is a heads up I give to all my sponsees. If you are just starting the program, for the next few months, you're going to be wrong about everything that comes out of your mouth. And it's okay. It's how we learn. In fact, the more you are wrong, the more you can make it right. So it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to open your mouth and talk a little bit if it's going to help you get to the right thing. But we all go through it. You are not alone in it.
Amen. Closing thoughts, Roger?
Yeah, I would encourage people just to seek help. I mean, once you make the admission, then the work's in front of you. And now you've realized what the problem is. You acknowledge the problem. So how do I find solution and the power that I don't have? And when you go on that road, you know, the book says if you be open-minded and you be willing and you be humble and rigorously honest, you'll find what you're seeking for. Just don't let your ego get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good word. Good word. Kat, closing thoughts from you.
I don't have any closing thoughts.
She's closing on her closing thoughts.
Sorry. Head empty.
Look what I'm doing. I'm trying to do the Trump thing with my hands.
Better watch it. There's a tariff on that.
What is gas here now? $2 and
It's like $3.19.
It's the
got-
lowest it's been
the other
nationwide
day it was
in years.
like $2.79.
Really?
Yeah.
I filled my tank. I was on E. I normally fill my tank when I've got like a quarter left. I was just really busy, and so I was on E. And I go and I fill my tank, and it's only $30. And I'm like, what happened?
Okay, so I just normie thinking versus addict thinking. She says I normally fill my tank when there's a quarter left, and I'm thinking I've never had a quarter left.
Yeah.
Kat's looking at me going, what? It's a measurement druggy thing.
Yeah.
It's like standing in line at a Christian convention, and all these people from NA are with me, right? And we're standing in line, and some guy in front of us goes, I hate long lines. And we all look at each other and we're like, not us, man. Oh my gosh. All right. I thought because this is the first show of the new year on Take 12 Recovery Radio, Monday show, that we played this song. It's entitled Goodbye Yesterday. I just absolutely love it. It's by Elevation Rhythm. It's a hopping song. And I'll come back with my closing thoughts. Here's Goodbye Yesterday. Enjoy this.
Hands up! Goodbye yesterday. I'm living in the light of a new day. I won't waste another minute in my old ways. Praise the Lord, I've been born again. Goodbye yesterday. I'm living in the
goodbye yesterday, 'cause I'm living in the light of a new day. I won't waste another minute in my old ways. Praise the Lord, I've been born again. Again and again and again and again, you rescued me out of the mess I was in. Traded my sorrow for something to sing. Now I'm dancing on the grave that I once lived in. Goodbye yesterday. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. I've got resurrection in my veins. Praise the Lord, I've been born again. You rescued me out of the mess I was in. I traded my sorrow for something to sing. Now I'm dancing on the grave that I once lived in. How about you? Have you admitted that left to your own devices, you are powerless? That you're powerless over the things that so easily beset you? Until we admit our powerlessness, why would we seek a power? We wouldn't. So my hope for you in this new year is that you have come to a place where you can admit complete defeat and surrender your will and your life over to the care of the God who is God, Jesus Christ, the God of the Bible, the God of the founders of the 12-step movement. It was clear, it was complete, it was final, and they closed out their own era with a high 90% success rate, not only when it came to sobriety, but when it came to a new relationship with themselves and with their Creator. Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man, along with the rest of the Take 12 Recovery radio family, and we are wishing a very happy and successful new year to each and every one of you as you experience God's perfect serenity for you.
Don't let the weights of the past keep you down. There's a melody here to turn it around. In each story and song you'll find a friend, a chorus of courage that'll never end.
This has been a broadcast of Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
This has been a Chicken and a Pig production.